Hi, y'all. Welcome back to Made It Out. Today's conversation is so fun. It's with my good friend, Bridget Berman, and we are talking about female pleasure, masturbation, the stigma of it all. We are going to normalize it. You're going to find out how many times I masturbate, how many times Bridget masturbates. We know it's like a subject that's not talked about enough, and it's kind of touchy, and there's no reason for it to be. So we're trying to change that here. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. I want to give a little context as to why we picked you for this episode.
I would actually like that context too, to be honest.
We recently had Hillary on, who's a mutual friend.
Yep.
And she told Matilda and I that you test lube on dildos for a living. Is that true? Is that a job?
You know, Hillary's one of my best friends, and that is the weirdest lie I've ever heard, and it's very concerning. I wish that was my job. I think I'd be really good at it. No, I do not work in lube or in dildos, but I work for a women's health company called O Positive Health. So I get vibrators like sent to me all the time.
Yeah.
So that's what I think she's confused about. I don't know. I'm confused by her. But we're a women's health company, and we make supplements for menopause, for vaginal health, menstrual health, and pregnancy support. So like I'm talking about vaginas all day. I'm talking about masturbation all day. I'm talking about sexual health, like just all of it.
Lexi always talks about how we should get all of our friends together and each have to do a presentation on what each other does for work.
I would love that.
And I think this is a perfect example
Hillary
of why.
I test lube on. Is that a job? Is that a job?
How do we get that? Let us know.
And also just like Hillary thinking that that's what I'm doing all day at work is like, I'm just taking different dildos and I'm just like, oh, this lube looks good. Like, what? That's so funny.
But you are passionate about like female pleasure,
Yes.
about breaking stigmas.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I want to talk about that, but I want to start with how this passion came to be. Were you a sexually curious kid?
I think yes. No, I know yes, I was. But I didn't know that's what I was experiencing, if that makes sense. So like I didn't know that I was a sexually curious kid. And then now looking back, I'm like, oh, I was the most sexually curious kid ever.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
I feel the same way. Like I've talked about this a little bit on the pod before, but like I grew up in a neighborhood where all the kids were the same age and like all the parents were relatively the same age.
Very freaky.
It's a breeding ground for little freaks. Yeah. And I just remember we would all like play with each other and touch each other. Yeah. And I asked my friend, my closest friend of that time, like, do you remember this? And she was like, Mal, you were always the freak. She was like, we'd be in the circle and your dress would like slip down and your boob would come out. And I'd be like, Mal, put your dress back on. And you'd be like, that's okay. Like, so I found out I was a little slut.
I love that. Oh, I'm so obsessed. We would have been really fun together.
We would have been
really fun together. That's so
What kind of stuff were you doing?
Yeah. I have memories of like my friends and I like playing with each other, like you said, under the blanket. Never have talked about it, like ever, with each other. So if you're listening, then you know who you are. No, we did. There was a lot of that. And like, I remember I'd go into my closet, which I guess is really fitting for this, but I would go into my closet and I would like either hump things or like rub things. And like, I would use any object I could. And I didn't necessarily know what I was doing.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I just knew it felt good.
Yeah.
And I knew that it was a secret and like, it was shameful.
Yes.
So I should do it in my closet.
Yeah. I would like, okay, you know, the first memory I have of this is like, you know, on HBO or like the titles, it would be like porn titles.
Dying.
And I would go like look at the porn titles and I would only find the lesbian ones.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That young?
Yeah, that young. I was really young and I would only like, but I couldn't see anything. I was just looking at titles.
That is so cute. Yeah. I did that on like LimeWire or like whatever the early platforms were, or like, I would be in the deep channels on my parents' like cable, whatever. And I would like find the naughty ones. I'd see it for a second and I'd be like, oh my God, and freak out.
Why do you think we knew it was shameful? What were the conversations like?
There were no conversations. That's why. Sex ed, there's not 1 ounce of education on female pleasure. And there's not really any education on any pleasure, but like we are from a young age, all we're talking about is like boys jacking off and it's funny and it's gross. And it's like, we know the action, like we do it with our hands to like, you know, tease each other. Boys talk about it. Boys tease girls about it. Like there's no conversation about women or female pleasure. And there's no conversations really at all. At all.
Did your parents give you like the sex talk, or what was it like in your household?
My mom's a doctor, so it was very clinical.
Wow.
Like, it was a very clinical experience, which I actually really like. And I think if I have kids, I would do a clinical style as well. But I wouldn't do it in the sense of like, I was very much of the generation that like, if you like look at a boy and you then have sex with him and then you will get pregnant and then your life is over.
Yeah.
So like sex
That's
is
very
like
Texas.
Scary. Okay. I'm not from Texas, but like
that's where I grew up.
Real. Yeah. I think my clinical like sex stuff was just like more so about the body but never about pleasure. Definitely not about pleasure. Definitely not about masturbation. And then like sex was just a scary, like taught to be scared. Like you should be scared of it. Like don't do it unless you're in love and you want to start a family.
Yeah, that's actually kind of how it was positioned by my parents too. Like I had a babysitter that I just have this like very small memory of. She was watching me one day and I asked her what sex was. And she like had this like reaction.
How old was she, do you think? And how old were you?
I was like 5. I was so tiny.
I'm into you as a child.
Yeah, I was really sexually curious. And you know what's even crazier is she looks exactly like Matilde.
You got a type, girl.
I really do. It's like so crazy that they look a lot alike.
Yeah.
And then I just remember her being like, oh my God, like I'll tell your parents to tell you about it. And then that was the conversation. It's just like, you have sex when you're in love. You have sex when, not necessarily when you're married, but like when you find the right person that you love so much.
Same.
And then that was like it. But I've recently been seeing on TikTok that there's like this thing called naked moms. Have you heard of this?
No, tell me everything, please.
Okay, so moms who like aren't weird about having their kids see them naked.
Okay.
Creates like a really healthy relationship with like
sex and your body.
And like, yeah. And my mom was always really weird. If we like came in the room, she'd be like, like whatever. And so I think like, as I was thinking about this conversation, I'm like, oh, maybe that has something to do with it, because Matilde had a semi-naked mom. Like her mom wasn't weird about like,
I had a naked mom.
Okay. See, and
you didn't.
I didn't. And I feel like it built up a lot of shame around like,
well, definitely around your body.
Around my body.
For sure.
And like possibly pleasure and like how I should feel about that.
Yeah. Did you ever have an experience where you were caught masturbating as a child or caught doing anything?
Okay, no, but I did have again, the neighborhood of kids. My parents were trying to be like the cool parents and threw me a birthday party at the Marriott.
Sick.
And they got like a conjoining room, and they went into their room, and then all the girls were in the other room, and one of the girls turned on porn. And so we were all watching. Well, it started with naked golfing. Like all these people were naked on a golf course.
My full-blown dream.
And then, so like whatever, we watched porn, and then one of the girls went home and told her mom. And then it was this whole neighborhood thing, and everybody was like, you threw a porn party for our daughters. And so that might have been a little shameful.
Yeah, a little bit.
What about you?
No, I didn't have any memories. I know I have a lot of friends who, and it's really like changed the course of their own masturbation like journey, where I have friends who got caught young and their parent like, you know, like shamed them and like yelled at them and said like, you know, don't do that. And like, that's why they have a lot of shame. And then I have friends whose parents caught them and was like, hey, that's for private time, and do that on your, like do that in private and don't do that like out in the living room when we're all eating.
Yeah.
And that then had made them have a healthier experience with their masturbation journey. But like, I think how your parent, if you get caught, like that could be so traumatizing. I mean, I'm sure our parents saw us like as kids. Like I'm sure I was humping everything all the time and they saw that. But no, that's a big fear of mine. Like when I have kids, like I'm like, oh God, I don't want to have to deal with that. But like, I want to give them the least amount of shame possible.
Yeah.
And the naked mom thing, I agree. Like, I think because my mom was naked and like we would like, shower together when I was a kid. And then I went to Loman's. Do you remember Loman's? Mm-hmm. The like a clothing department store where like the dressing rooms were communal and you would like all get naked in front of each other.
They did that at Hollister for a while.
What?
Yeah.
That would have been a much better experience than Loman's, actually, because Loman's is like all older women. But it was really cool to see that. And I think that helped me definitely be like very confident in my body as a kid and like confident with like, I don't know, I don't know.
Just being like out there and
Just like not being so ashamed.
Yeah. Wow. That's really crazy. I do feel like that's why I have a lot of,
I'm sure.
weird.
Well, I mean, you are every single woman. It's crazy, especially working in the industry I do. I am learning all the time. Women are so, one, not even talking about it still. And it's way different than it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago. We don't talk about masturbation with our friends enough, unless you're at dinner with me. And like, we're not talking about it. Straight women are like so ashamed because they think, I mean, I can get into it and we will, but like they are so ashamed to masturbate. They don't know that they can. They think, oh, my boyfriend is in the other room. Like, of course I should be like having sex with him.
Okay. Let's talk about this because growing up in Texas, I feel like knew a lot of women who did feel a certain type of way about masturbation. Like if a guy did it, he was cheating. Like they shouldn't. This is how deep it went. So tell me about the straight girls. Tell me what you see the differences being.
I think there's a lot of, just in general, the through line is there's a lot of shame. And I think that because we haven't really talked about female pleasure ever, and just even female pleasure in sex, we don't know really like how to please ourselves. We don't know, like a lot of women don't even know, have never had an orgasm. They don't know how to give themselves an orgasm. People are scared to buy, vibrators or any type of toys. It's just like, there's so much shame. And then, like you said, with dating men, there's like some type of, I don't even know, like where women think that if they're in a relationship with men, like they are not allowed to masturbate. And I think they don't know that they can make themselves feel good. And it's just, I don't know. It depresses me. It's really sad. And then I think with queer women, I think like, since we do make our own rules, I think we are, and our sex is different. So I think like masturbation is like a big part of that. And like I said, I don't know. The world was paved for men and like men masturbation and not really for women.
Yeah. It like doesn't stop here.
Yeah.
When I was like doing research for this, I saw something.
What was your research like?
This is what's so funny is like my job is to like research masturbation
It's
and
incredible.
then sit here and get drunk with you and talk about it.
So incredible.
It's like, so I was listening to podcasts about masturbation and female pleasure.
Yeah.
And hold on, something that I came across is it did say, just a study published in the Journal of Sexual Medicine found that lesbian women reported higher rates of masturbation compared to heterosexual women.
Yeah.
And that goes along with this. I think we're just like more liberated in general. Is that not a fair thing to say?
I don't know if it's liberation. I think, okay, fine, fair. I think like in a straight relationship, I do think like there's more rules, right? And there's like a road that they've been shown that they're supposed to go down. Whereas for us, our road is like this, like we can make up our rules. So yes, I think fine, we are more liberated.
Or just like, to your point, have to get a little more creative. Like it's not all about penetrative sex.
Right.
And so it's like, there's all of these different things that we are kind of encouraged to try, or it's like safer to talk about.
That's
I think
for sure. Yes.
Or like lesbian sex is just more of a conversation in general. I think.
Well, just in our world, I think.
Okay, fair. Yeah. Fair. I mean, just like when you are having like the act of sex, like when you're with your partner, I think in general, it takes more communication than having sex with a man, because it's like with a man, it's a couple emotions. With us, it's like, okay, do you like this? Do you not like this? Like, do you have maybe some sort of something in your past that makes you not like this? Like, it's just, I think more of an open conversation and like forum.
Yes. And there's a power dynamic in a hetero relationship where, again, because of our sex education and like we've never really been taught about female pleasure, it's always been to serve the man. So it is about the man finishing, and like no one's really cared about the woman finishing. That's absolutely changed in the last, whatever. But yeah, with two women, like you are communicating because there's not an inherent power dynamic there. Like we are the same. So we are like actively, hopefully trying to make us both come.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I like that. I never thought of it that way. Okay. This kind of goes back to this. This kind of goes into like a fluidity conversation that I always feel like this has come up several times on this podcast. Are you a porn watcher?
No.
Okay.
It honestly depends on the month. Okay. So no. I like audio porn a lot. Like I love the Quinn and the Dipsies of the world. Yeah.
I've never tried audio porn.
You should.
Okay.
You should do it like where you guys are on like a long road trip. and see what
Audio
happens.
porn. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
I do like audio porn. I think women like it because it's like not as like intense into your face. Like, but I do like porn. Yeah, fine. I'll give you the answer of yes, I do watch porn, just like not that often.
Okay. I don't watch porn anymore. Like when I was not out, I watched it a lot because I think I was like trying to live that
Desperate
fantasy through porn. And then when I came out and actually had sex with women, I was like,
You now have your own fantasies. Yeah.
Yes. But I feel like the conversation around porn maybe kept me from realizing my identity quicker. And this is like, I feel like I always get into debates with people about this because I feel like there's this conversation about like straight girls watch lesbian porn.
Yes.
But because I had heard that and I was like, all I was watching was lesbian porn, fantasizing about being with women, I was like, oh, I'm just a straight girl who watches lesbian porn. So I'm like, no, I think that this somewhat correlates with your identity or your wants or
I love this.
what have you. And I'm like, don't tell me I'm a straight girl who watches lesbian porn. What do you think?
Yeah. Okay. So interesting. I think that there's two things to this. One is I definitely think there are a lot of straight women out there that love watching lesbian porn because it feels safe and not so intense. And like, there's like a beauty to it. I'm obviously biased because I think lesbian sex is amazing, but I think there's like a safety to it that it's not so intense and it's so hot because it's like so unfamiliar. Like they've never experienced it. Like this is like almost like a, what is this kind of thing? And then I also agree with you in that I definitely think I come from the mindset, no one is straight. Like, I don't think anyone is straight. I really don't. I think everyone is a little bit gay and a little bit bi or whatever. Like, I just don't think anyone is fully straight.
I agree with you.
I think that there are a lot of straight girls out there that are not straight fully, that are watching lesbian porn, that a part of them is like, fuck, I like this because I want to try it, but I don't know I want to try it. So I'm just going to fit that stereotype of a straight girl who's fascinated by lesbian porn. But like, I think, yes, I think I agree with you. Straight women, no one's straight.
I agree. So you think, okay, how straight do you think you are?
I already did this once. I think, again, it depends on the month. Like it's season. Like I'm straight. Sorry, I'm never straight. I'm like in a lesbian relationship. So I get bucketed as a lesbian all the time.
Right.
I identify as bisexual. I truly just like hot people. So like, I do not care what you are as long as you're hot and interesting. Like I like you. So I would say like what did I say? I said 60-40, like, but 60 women, but like, it depends on the season, truly. Like around the holidays, I'm very, very straight. Like I miss men. It's like a nostalgia for men.
Wow, oh my God. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. Maybe because I go home and that's when I was straight. Or like there's something about like the winter that makes you miss a man. I don't fucking know.
Or like the commercialism of the holiday,
Sure.
maybe.
Yeah,
it's like this
The,
holiday is...
Sure. I don't know. How straight are you? Like how gay are you?
See, I don't think like I really could
You
not.
think that you're 100%?
I really don't think I could be with a man again ever.
True. Fair.
I'm also just like, I have zero interest in men. Like I don't even have male friends really, which is like another conversation.
Yeah, that's
like
very different.
Yeah, I mean, but I also think it's like wrapped up in all of this like weird trauma and the men that I grew up around and all of that. It's like, I'm just so unimpressed and I don't find the male physique attractive at all. I'm just saying, like, even our friend Julian, he's our sperm donor. He is the most beautiful man in the world. Gorgeous, stunning. And even I look at him and I'm just like, yeah.
That's so okay. Fine. Can we make these the rules then? If you're with a man, or you're identifying like for women, you're with a man, or if you're identifying as straight, I actually don't think you're straight. But if you're a woman who is with women, so you identify as a lesbian, you can be fully a lesbian.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to have any sort of spectrum.
Because
you've done it. You've done it. You've done
Yes.
both. So you can actually say it. Okay, I'll take back my statement. I don't think anyone is 100% straight until they've tried it. Like you never know if you never try, you never try if you never know. Like that is what I think.
I like that.
So I think you can be 100% straight. I have some girlfriends who dress like lesbians and they are straight and it's very frustrating because they are what ruins all of us and breaks our hearts. But those girls are actually straight, but they have tried it. They have tried to finger a girl in a bathroom and I appreciate them for it.
Yeah, I like that.
Then I can give them the 100% straight
Okay.
rule. Yeah. I think so many people are closeted, and I think so many people like don't question their sexuality like at all. They've never even thought to. And it actually, same with the masturbation thing. Like we are like shamed or just like showed this way or not shown a way. And then we think this path for ourselves. And then like we never question it. And then you're like 30 in a relationship with a certain type of person. And you're like, wait, I'm actually like not into this.
Yeah, this sucks.
This isn't like what I've never questioned it. Now I'm questioning it or whatever. And I like it. That's sad to me.
That was literally my path. Like I almost
That's so sad.
would have gotten married to a dude.
I'm so proud of you that you questioned it or that you pushed through.
Yeah, that's like, it completely changed my life. I think like I've said that before, like sex with a woman changed my life, but I think it literally is just like because I opened a door to myself that I had been closed off to for forever.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think to your point, I always think like, well, actually Matilda's aunt says everything in the world, all the problems in the world are because sexual repression.
We're best friends, me and your aunt.
She's great.
Fully agree.
But that is 100% what she says. And I'm like,
true.
Yeah, actually, you're probably right.
Imagine we could just all be like moving through the world without sexual shame, body shame, like just like fluidity. You want to kiss this person. We should all be making out with our friends. We should all be having sex with each other, in my opinion. Like it just imagine if you weren't shamed for being like horny. I was at a dinner recently with this guy. And it was like, it ended up being like the sexiest dinner I've ever been to, where like all of us like wanted to have sex with each other. And I don't know how that happened. It just was like such good vibes and a lot of wine. And he said to me, he was like, I've never been in a dinner before where I wasn't the horniest person at the table. And I was like, well, that's like, you haven't been out to dinner with me, one. And two, I'm like, these men are still so surprised that women get horny. You know?
Wow.
And I'm like, you need to go to dinner with a group of lesbians. We are the horniest people I know. And why? Because I think we're sexually liberated.
Yeah.
Or like we've had really good sex, or like we've just like had an orgasm. And like a lot of my straight friends too are like, whoa, like I don't know how you and your they call me the lesbian, or they call my friend group the lesbian mafia. So they'll be like, how are you like the lesbian mafia just always so horny and like fucking each other at dinners? And I'm like, my bad. Like we're feeling good and loose.
We're happy.
And I feel sad because I'm like, if straight people could operate like that too, they get bucketed as like, okay, then they're going to be swingers. Like there's no in between. It's like, no, just like let it out. Like be horny at your dinner and
so
flirt
true.
and like crush on each other and then like move on and you'll feel better.
I will say this is how like those freaky cults get started.
Down.
Because they're like,
I know I sound crazy.
We should all just be kissing each other and fucking each other. And then they're like, we should all live on a commune.
We should. We should. I'm down. I don't fucking care. We should. It's so messed
we're
up.
in. We've been saying it. We're like, we don't want to live alone. Let's get all the lesbians to live on a cul-de-sac.
We could take care of all of our kids together. The house, the plants, the dogs, the
Trade
cats.
wives.
Yes, that's the first. I should have said that first. Trade the wives. Oh my God, the things that we could accomplish. It would. I do hear myself. It does sound like a cult now that you say it. But
That's how every cult doc starts.
whatever. This is the dream. I think we'd all be better for it. God damn.
I love it. Okay, well then that leads me to another question. How do you feel about, well, where does masturbation fit in a relationship?
Oh, yeah. It's a fucking important. It's so important. I like really can't stress enough. Like you should be making sure. I mean, it obviously depends on libido and how everyone's doing and what's going on in your lives. But like, you should really encourage your partner to masturbate. You should never shame your partner to masturbate. Like I always try to force Jordan to masturbate, like when I'm not home or around and she's like, please stop pushing this on me. And I'm like, okay. But I think like it's really important to have that connection with your body. Cause if you're not having this connection with your body, how can you have a connection with your partner's body?
Yeah.
And just like with yourself and all that, you know? So I really, really want to encourage that. Mutual masturbation is the best thing. Like, I think that's like my favorite pastime. And I really can't stress enough. Our old couples therapist used to call it lazy sex. Like she'd be like, just have lazy sex. Like if you guys are feeling like, you know, the stress of sex in your relationship or whatever. And I would be like, great. So like mutual masturbation, I'm a huge proponent of, and like carving out time to masturbate or having like your partner masturbate. So like if you need me to go on a walk so you can masturbate because like maybe sex isn't the vibe, like then I'll go on a walk.
Yeah.
Like because then if we just normalize it and it's not this taboo thing, then I always get yelled at for this rant I'm about to go on, but I'm like, it's literally like brushing your teeth or like taking a shower. Like if we could just look at it as like, it's this really important thing for your body. You need to do it. I really, really recommend it. Like just, why can't it be like that? Why does it have to be this taboo, so inappropriate thing? It's not. And like, look at all the side, like the side effects of it are the, like no headaches. I always do it to get my periods to come. If I'm like waiting to get my period, like I'll masturbate and then I'll get my period literally.
Oh my God. I did not know that stimulated that.
I mean, usually.
Whoa.
I'm not a scientist or a doctor, but I think that the math is sound there. And then obviously like there's so many good effects.
I
of
actually
masturbation.
did look up the benefits.
Oh my God. It never ends.
Like, well, I looked up the biggest benefits of masturbating: stress release.
Yes.
Improved mood.
Yeah.
Better sleep.
Yes.
Increased self-esteem.
If you can't fall asleep,
masturbate.
Yep. Wow. Right next to Matilda while she's sleeping.
That's what you need to try.
It would wake me up.
Matilda has the biggest issue falling asleep. But okay, Matilda also is someone that doesn't masturbate.
Everyone's different. So I don't want to like come on here and be like, go masturbate. It changes everything. But I will say there are like a lot of friends of mine that I've talked to who are like, I just like don't have any desire, blah, blah, blah. And then like switched medication or gone on medication or like started taking different supplements or whatever. And they're like, oh, I actually like have like a sex drive now.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, there are a lot of benefits that even if you don't want to do it, I have friends who are like, I have a fat headache. I'm going to just fucking do it so I can get out of that.
That's what I need to start doing for my migraines.
And then it helps.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, I had the worst fucking migraine last night. Like
You should have masturbated.
oh my God. Now I know.
Yeah.
I'm going to start getting migraines more.
Yeah, baby. You betcha.
I'm going to be like, babe, I have a migraine. You go away. Every day I have a migraine. Yeah, I do. Okay, well, babe, we're going to get you masturbating. I think you need to do it today. Are we inspiring
No,
you?
we're going to do it today at the end of the episode together.
At the end of the episode, Matilda's
Right
going to
here.
come on and masturbate.
Fuck yeah.
For everyone.
Let's do it.
Okay, well, I'm just saying, if you want to sleep better, reduce menstrual cramps, enhance sexual pleasure, if you want to please me, you have to masturbate.
It's true. But I also think it goes back to the connection with your body. Like if you can feel, and it's not easy. And I'm not sitting here being like, go and do this. And it's so easy. Like I have friends who have masturbated for hours and still can't come.
Whoa.
Yes. A lot of it sometimes is because of the medication they're on or because like you're not in the mindset.
Yeah.
You just don't want to do it. And it's like you're rebelling against it. So like, to everyone, like to each their own, but like I really, really, really recommend just like trying to even do the act because it's again connecting with your body, like trying to like please yourself. It's so important. We have so much shame carried in our bodies.
Yeah, and the body keeps the score.
The body keeps the score.
I was listening again in research purposes. I was listening to another podcast and it was with a sex therapist who was saying that when people come in and they have like problems in their sex life or like with their libido, the first thing that they ask is, what is your masturbation like? And what is that connection like? Like, do you know how to make yourself come? Do you know what works for you?
How are
and
you supposed to? Yeah. How are you supposed to have and enjoy sex if like you don't even know your own self?
Yeah. And women, okay, you obviously know this, but I think this was something that I found out that I like a while ago that I was like, holy shit, I didn't know this, that women can orgasm in 5 different ways.
I think I did know that.
Do you know the ways?
Yeah. Wait. So a vaginal orgasm, like penetrative one. Clitoral. Anal.
Yeah.
Okay. Anal. Like a erogenous zone. Like, I don't know. Yeah.
Like nipples. Yep.
And stuff.
And then one more. This one's kind of hard.
Toes.
Cervix. How many of those do you think you've had? Toes. Okay, well now we know what your fetishes
Toes?
are.
I'm not against it, but I'm not actually, that's not for me.
Toes. You're gonna go and be like, Jordan, get
him over
here.
Ew. Not ew, sorry. Fuck. It's because I had this conversation this other day with someone who said that they really like getting the in between their toes sucked.
Oh.
And that if I don't try it, I'm an idiot.
Okay, well, that too. Everybody listening?
Anyway, cervix.
Do you think you've had all of those?
Well, no.
I think I have.
Anal queen. Okay.
I only ever came with one guy. one time in like all before I was with women, I had only ever had one orgasm. And it was when I was on top, and it was with a guy who had the biggest dick I've ever seen. And so I do think that was
The cervix
that would
one?
be the cervical.
That was in your
orgasm.
throat, essentially.
Yes. Yeah, correct. Yes, that was that.
That's the orgasm gap I was talking about. I don't know how many women have had orgasms with men, like, you know, regularly.
Well, okay, so this is another thing that I learned. I came prepared.
I'm obsessed.
Okay, so there was a study done by Professor Elizabeth Lloyd, and she was a biologist at Indiana University. I just want to put this out there in case anybody's like, where are you getting your research from? And anyways, they did a study with 52,000 participants. 35% of heterosexual women always or usually orgasm during vaginal sex alone, when compared with 80% of heterosexual women and 91% of lesbians who said that they always or usually have an orgasm with the combination of genital stimulation, deep kissing, and oral sex.
Deep kissing? What's deep kissing?
Vaginal. Okay, but then they called that the golden trio. Kissing, oral sex, and genital stimulation, not stimulation. The golden trio. And that's 80% of heterosexual women, 91% of lesbians. Do you believe that?
I don't know. It's not going into my brain the way you're saying this stat.
I can't come with penetrative like almost ever. Like that's
you have to have clit stimulation. Stimulation.
Yeah. Yes. Stimulation.
Yes. You have to. Yeah. Yeah, that's
so that
normal.
makes sense to me.
Yes, okay, that makes sense too. I think I got lost at deep kissing.
And
I don't
threw you off. You don't. Deep kissing does not do it for you.
I do not.
If you would have added toes to this list,
shut the fuck. Oh no, I'm the toe girl now. Fuck.
Okay, maybe we got a little bit lost in the weeds, but basically just saying that vaginal penetration doesn't really work. The golden trio is kissing.
No, deep kissing,
oral sex, and genital stimulation.
Fine. There's been better studies out there than this one.
This
so that one was a really tough one to hear. No, I've got none. That's amazing. Yeah. Okay. Great. I need those three things too.
And on that note, looking back now, do you have any memories of queerness showing up in your masturbation?
I remember I have a memory as a child where I would like go to masturbate and I have like pictures all over my wall of like, you know, Chad Michael Murray and Ashton Kutcher and then like Angelina Jolie and random, you know, whatever. And I remember like a point in my childhood where I had so much shame if I looked at the woman before I would like touch myself. And I knew that I liked looking at the guys and I liked looking at the girls. And I was like so confused what that meant. And then like, I think that that's a common experience for queer people, right? Like, I don't know, like you were watching lesbian porn from age 3. So
yeah, well, I'm always like really curious about the bisexual experience because I'll
talk to you about the bisexual
I'm just
experience.
like always, because I feel like I always knew I liked women and I just questioned if I liked men like most of my life.
I was insanely boy crazy.
Okay.
Like insanely boy crazy my entire life. And anyone who knew me was like, she's so boy crazy. It's insane. And then like, I had no clue I liked women. But there was inside of me, there was so much like I had crushes on these girls, but I thought they were just like I wanted to be them so badly. Especially with soccer. Like I would have like girls on my team where I wanted to be them, not necessarily be with them or like have sex with them. And now looking back, I'm like, oh, maybe it was a crush. I don't know. But bisexuality in general, like, I can go on about bi erasure. Like people do not think bisexuals exist. I'm in a fucking tie and everyone's like, that's a lesbian. Like, you know what I mean? No one like takes me seriously as a bisexual. I don't care anymore. Like I cared for so long because I was like, no, like take me seriously. And then I'm like, I'm in a lesbian relationship. So I am bucketed as a lesbian.
Yeah.
But I'll still like fuck your boyfriend. Like if I need to. No, but I think bisexuality in general like isn't taken seriously. So I think like there's so much shame around that. And people are like, there's no way you like both. And I truly mean this. Like I had no clue I liked women until all of a sudden I like had sex with a woman. And I was like, oh my God, I like women.
Yeah.
And I think that's my campaign for if straight women could just have sex with women, they would be like, oh, I'm not straight. I'm bi or I like women too.
Yeah. How long do you think it took you to get to the point you are now of not feeling like you had to prove that, or you had to like,
It's a great question.
fight against that?
I think it helps being in a relationship. So if I was with a woman, I actually feel sad sometimes by women who are dating men because they get one, like buyer's remorse and they like wish they were with a woman, and two, they do not get accepted into like any type of queer community. Like we have been probably guilty ourselves of like rejecting a girl who was bi and who was like hooking up with a girl or dating girls and now is with a man. We're like, you're straight now. Like that's fucked up. And I'm guilty of it for sure. But I think like for me, it's taken I'm really lucky. I have a really great community. I have a lot of fun friends. It's the hardest group to like remind that I'm bisexual are the lesbians, not my straight friends. Like a lot of my lesbians are like, bucket me as a lesbian, call me a lesbian. And I'm like, you're so stupid. I'm bisexual. Like, again, like you guys have to remember this. Straight people are just like, she likes everyone. Like when I told my dad I was bisexual, he literally called me the town bicycle. He was like, you like, everyone gets a ride. Like you just like sex there. And I was like, Dad, that's not what that means. But anyways, yeah. So I'm good now. I think it takes a lot of like work to like be okay with it. A lot of therapy. My therapist, that was like the beginning of my therapy, was like, am I bisexual? Am I refusing to be a lesbian? Like, am I refusing that title? Or like, do I like want to be with a guy? And like, I'm actually like not, I don't want to be with women, but I'm like, no, I definitely want to be with women. Yeah. Oh, and to your point earlier, I forgot to say this. I do think once you've been with a woman, it's impossible to get with it, like to be with a guy.
Yeah.
I like think like it is like you are now more evolved. You've experienced an enlightened, like you have opened a door you cannot shut.
Yes.
And like that sucks.
Yes.
And that's the buyer's remorse. I think for women who then be with men, like you and I now know the other side and it's gorgeous.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that, because that is so true. I always think, and maybe that is part of my problem with like men too. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, not to me, but in this question of like, maybe am I bi? Like it doesn't matter because I am with Matilda now and it's like fine, but I do check in with myself and I'm like, oh, like what would it be without those experiences that I had? But I do think about that, how it's like the friendship that you get, that just like the connection that's there, it is just so different. Yeah. And so my interest in men is just like completely gone on almost every level.
As it should be.
But so do you never feel the buyer's remorse in the opposite way?
You
do?
Yes.
Okay, interesting.
I'm engaged. I've been engaged for however many fucking years. Everyone always says, when are you getting married? When are you getting married? And I'm like, honest to God, like the wedding and like planning a wedding just isn't happening. And I think a part of me is like, if I was marrying a man, the wedding would have already happened.
Oh, interesting.
And it's just like, maybe I'm homophobic, like a little bit or something, or like, I just don't have representation or whatever. But there are moments where I'm like, I would just have such an easier life if I was marrying a man or dating a man. And same with IVF and the child process. Like, oh my God, how much better would it be or easier would it be to just get pregnant naturally? And like, so I think that's when I get buyer's remorse, but then I'm like, no, I'm good. I love my life and I love being with a woman. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think there's those moments where it's just, I'm talking about the ease of life, not necessarily like having a better life, just having an easier journey.
It's just like the world is set up for you.
Them, for sure.
And so that is interesting, because that's not a feeling I ever feel.
That's fantastic. I think that means that you're succeeding at life. I think you're winning, or you're delusional, or you're just gay as fuck. I have one time a friend of mine had like an accidental threesome with a man and a woman after a night out. And she called me in the morning. You guys know who this is, but I'm not going to say her name. She called me in the morning and she was like, I have to tell you something. And I'm like, what's up? She's like, I had sex with a man last night. And she's identified as a lesbian. She is so hardcore lesbian. Like that's her like thing. And she's like, I had sex with a man last night and his girlfriend. And I was like, how was it? And she like starts crying and she was like, I think I might be bi and that's really bad for my brand. I was like fucking dying, because I was like, isn't it so funny that we are so fortunate that we live in this world now where like our lesbian friends are like scared that they might like dick.
Yes. I told Matilda that because we literally were having this conversation like not too long ago where I was like, yeah, like sometimes I do just ask myself the question and like check in with myself.
I love that.
And I was like, I have literally set my entire brand up. Like I am.
Yeah, you're fucked. You're no
gay. I am gay. So even if I ever did come to a different like revelation, it's like, bitch, shut the fuck up.
No,
sit down.
Let's do a new podcast
Rebrand?
that's called like
Made it halfway back in.
made it back in. Yeah, halfway back in is so good. That's good. I love you questioning yourself. I actually really, really do. I think that's my point is like straight women aren't questioning themselves, which like, why would they? Why should they? Again, easier life. But like the fact that you are a queer woman and you're questioning it is beautiful. I wish we all questioned it.
Yeah.
Like, that's so important.
Yeah. I think that's part of the reason why I love doing this, because it's like, especially maybe not in LA, like LA is a different place. New York's a different place. Sure. But like where I grew up in Texas, it's like, there's a very specific image of what a lesbian looks like.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. It's not what either of us look like.
Right.
Well, a little bit right now, but like not really.
But I think it's like important to be like, okay,
1000%.
you can look whatever way and, you know, be interested in this thing.
Yes. I always thought I had to shave my head if I was going to be with women.
Matilda says the same thing.
I always thought I had to be like, you know, proper. And like, I was already on the soccer team. So like, that wasn't going to be surprising to anyone. And everyone like, now people are always like, did you know Bridget was like gay growing up? And people will be like, I mean, she was on the soccer team. Like, and it's like, fuck you, first of all. But like some of the straightest girls ever play soccer.
Right.
But I always thought I had to like, you know, shave my head, wear like super mask clothing and like get a, you know, crazy tattoos all over my body.
Yeah, no. Straight girls need to watch this episode.
Correct. Yes. And then call me and I'll help you. I'll help you big time.
I love it. Okay, so we play a game every episode.
Yeah.
We play You Haul You Ghost, but we wanted to test something a little different for this episode. So I am going to tell you someone in the zeitgeist in the world, and you are going to tell me how much you think they masturbate. And this is to not offend, it's to normalize masturbation, it's to make it fun and okay, and like you said, something just like brushing your teeth.
Yeah.
How much do you think Michelle Obama brushes her teeth?
I think Michelle Obama masturbates every single night.
I mean, she's pretty evolved. Like, I feel like she's
glowing.
connected.
She's glowing all the time. You think that skin is just from skin routine?
No.
That's from masturbation.
I agree.
Done.
That's when all of her most profound speeches come to her.
Yep.
Is like right as she.
Yep. As she. That's so true. Damn.
What about Martha Stewart?
I think she's having a lot of sex all the time. So she's actually like deprioritized masturbating. But I think when she's not having a lot of sex, I think she masturbates like probably every other day.
Yeah, I think I would agree with this one. I'm just trying to think about the doc. And like,
I want to know what what are you thinking when I'm saying this answer? Because mine is just pure silliness. You're having a very deep, pensive thought of like, what are you thinking?
Like putting myself in Martha's shoes.
Yeah, you are. I'm watching you.
This is how I listen. I'm processing what you have to say. I'm like,
you're like in her house right now.
Yeah,
you're like fully there. I'm like, I don't fucking know. And you're like really serious. Okay. No, tell me.
I don't know.
She went to prison. I think she probably fucked a lot of girls.
Yeah. I love that. I love that about Martha.
I do too.
Martha's gay.
Martha's actually gay. No, isn't she like really straight? And she's like talked about how she's not gay. Maybe not.
I hate that Martha. God damn it.
No,
nobody's straight.
Nobody is straight, Martha. Yeah, Martha does. Again, call me.
Okay, what about Taylor Swift?
The poor thing. She doesn't masturbate.
I know. This one, I don't want to be mean. The Swifties are going to
come for us. Come for us.
It is not giving masturbation.
No.
Beyonce, queen of masturbating.
You think? I was going to go the other way.
Oh my God. Tell me why.
I think she just cares about working.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
And she doesn't care about masturbating at all.
Yeah, her stress relief is dancing.
Exactly. She's just doing that. She's not doing any sort of self-pleasure.
Okay, I was gonna say she's so in her power, and she's like so like, I know what I want. She's so connected to.
You think she has time to masturbate? That woman is always working.
Maybe when she's like on the PJ
with the kids. The kids are there.
Fuck. Okay. Well then, girl,
Start masturbating.
no. If Beyonce's not masturbating, then maybe I won't be. Maybe I need to work harder, masturbate
what have I
less.
done? Oh no, you're masturbating too much. That's why you're not at that
Are
level.
you not successful? It's because you're in bed masturbating.
That is literally, I think, why I'm at where I'm at in my life.
There was a point in my life where I was masturbating way too much. Like when I was
What is
single.
way too much? Just like
Multiple times a day.
that's
I was
not
just
way too much.
bored.
That's a shame again.
Okay, you're right.
That's shame. I don't know if it's starting to like stop you from like doing things. I think maybe that's
You're
too
like,
much.
I can't come out. I can't go to dinner.
But like, I don't know. Wow, I'd love to know. Do you talk to your friends about masturbation?
No, not really. Maybe I need to start more.
I just would love to know. I don't talk. I mean, I talk a lot about it, but I'd love to know how often my friends masturbate.
How often do you?
I know. I just was thinking that too. It depends. It so depends on like what's going on in life. But like, if I could, I would love to every day. But I'm busy. I'm barely home. I'm working like Beyonce. I'm busy like Beyonce. I do have a vibrator in my car, and so I like do.
What's the craziest place you've ever masturbated?
No,
I'm about
I
to
don't.
throw myself out there.
Let's do it. I'll tell you mine too.
At work.
I have to, yeah. In the past, but
Wait, which work?
in the past, not this current job. I don't know. So a massage place, like right after I got a massage.
Oh, hot. Okay. Mine's a little different. I was selling homes.
Nothing gets me revved up more
I
than
worked in a
selling
model
homes.
home and nobody was coming in. I just locked the door.
Okay, that's so hot. I'm into that.
Thank God. I can never go back to corporate. Nobody will ever hire me
Well,
because of the
I'm in
things
corporate, so I'm kind of fucked right now. So I don't know what I'm doing, but yeah, no worries. I'm just shooting myself in the goddamn foot. What are we doing?
I ask everyone, what are they working on in therapy?
Okay. Let me get here. What am I working on in therapy? Which one? Couples or my own individual?
Ooh, either.
Okay. An individual, it's the wedding block that I told you about of just like trying to either figure out if we should elope or get married, or if I don't want to get married at all, or what the deal is.
What does the therapist say?
You know, I could use a little bit more help. No, she's great. She's there. The couples therapist actually is what we've been working on that too. And also like non-monogamy, playing with that and like whatever. But I think what they're getting at is kind of like, what's your why? Like, why do you want to get married? And it really does stem back into like, the world was paved for hetero weddings. So I'm having a hard time with it. It's very patriarchal. It's very like the man, you know, is buying the woman and, you know, the father is buying the whatever. But they're just kind of, both therapists are asking me for like the why, like why do we want to, and where does it stem from, a lot of it. And like, I have a very my parents are still married. Jordan's parents are still married. So it's like kind of confusing where it comes from. That, and just in general, I think like neither one of us is driving the car to like has a preference. So if I was marrying someone who like really, really wanted to like have this type of wedding, this type of thing, then I would be like, great, I'll hop on in.
Yeah.
But she's just as indifferent as I am. So like nothing feels right. And it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just don't know.
That's fair.
It's really annoying.
Yeah. I think the way I look at queer like weddings and why I'm so excited to plan one is because it's so, you're already like, fuck the rules. Like,
see, but then so it's like a rebellious act, like you're getting married?
almost. Yeah. And I think that's why I love being gay so much, because I feel like it's a big middle finger to everybody I grew up around.
That's beautiful.
Like, I'm just like, fuck you. Like I'm doing things my own way and the way that I believe is the right way.
Yeah, I love that. I like wish I was like that.
I don't know.
I've never been to a gay wedding. I've been to maybe like 500 weddings. Truly. I go
You know
to
what?
10
I
a
think
year.
that'll help.
I've never been to one. And Jordan and I are both like femme, whatever we are. Like we're both like kind of the same. So I like picture like a suit and a dress. And I'm like, what would I wear? What the fuck would I wear?
Oh yeah.
And then
yeah.
I like it. Then it gets
and then you get
overwhelming.
tied. Yeah. But I think if you look at it like totally different, like Matilda and I talk about the craziest shit we want to do with ours. Like
love you guys for
not
that.
super ceremonial, like silly, goofy, like instead of speeches, we want to do a roast, like just funny and fun.
Yeah, you guys want to take. I don't like planning, so that also is a big thing.
Well, we can help you. I
know. I was like, when you plan yours, maybe you can just plan ours. Also, I don't know if you relate to this. You probably do. Maybe not. I have too many friends and I want to cut them out because I want a small wedding and I can't do that. And Jordan has too many friends. So like truly what I've been working on, actually, this is the answer to the fucking question. You can cut everything else. What am I working on in therapy? I'm working on figuring out how to like cut out people that I maybe don't need anymore.
Yep.
But doing it in a way where it's like nice. But I actually don't want to cut anyone out. So then I'm just back at square one.
I think this is an age thing. I think this is like around, because I feel like I have this conversation with so many of our friends and we're all just kind of hitting that point where it's like, I don't know, like your time is less and like the things that matter to you shift.
Yes.
And so then like friendships that maybe made a lot of sense
back
before.
then, and they were so important and so lovely. Like,
yes,
you have to mourn them.
Yes. And I just listened to a podcast episode about this, and it's a literal friendship expert. She was talking about this.
How do you get that title?
She like writes books. She researches friendship. Like this is her job. Cool. And she talked about friendships have whys. So like kind of like what you're talking about with the wedding. It's like, let's say you met a friend at work and that you don't work with that person anymore. Maybe if that friendship doesn't have a new why, then that friendship doesn't really make sense anymore. And then once you figure out the whys, then you can categorize your friends, not in like a shitty way, but like you rank them. Kind of. And so what she said was you have a bathtub friend, you have bathtub friends, hot tub friends, pool friends. So like your bathtub cute. With women is usually like your partner and then like your most intimate friend, like Lexi's in our bathtub.
Yeah, she is.
And then you have your hot tub, which is like kind of that.
What happens though if you feel like you can bathtub and hot tub and pool with all the same people?
That's Matilde. Then you're like Matilde.
Yeah.
And you say, no, you cannot be you. So what they say is like the only way to truly be a good friend, like as you age and as you lose your time, is to be a really good friend to your bathtub and your hot tub. And then know that the pool is going to be there or they're not going to be. So the ones that you're like, okay with, like,
this is honestly, this is sounding like my therapy sessions. I really can't, I hate change. I hate, like, I don't want to get rid, but like it's just, I think it's just growing up.
And I don't think it's a getting rid. I think it's just like the context
or the changes.
So like a person that you would invite to like this intimate thing, your hot tub friend, is different than someone like we have Pride over here.
Yeah.
You would invite pool friends.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So it's like, well, just in general, like whoever you would invite to an intimate dinner would be different than a huge party. And so I think it's not like you're cutting them out forever. And then your pool friends who are going to stay are okay with the context changing.
Yes, but then this is where sexuality comes into it. It's also like the lesbian group of friends that you make, and then like all your straight friends from your past, and like that integration. And it's like really crazy because you don't want to let go of that because it's a big part of who you were and who you are. But like this is now your new community, and it's like that is like crazy not talked about. And like I feel like sometimes like I'm at war with those two groups kind of thing. I'm like, and you need both. And to your point that you said earlier, like you don't have any man friends. I think man friends are so necessary and like they're really important for me. I don't know where we just went with this, but anyways, yeah, it's growing up.
Totally.
And like
I totally get it. We also deal with the straight friend thing. Like we don't see our straight friends as much because our lives just revolve around our community.
Do you get in trouble? Like, do they get mad at you?
Matilde does a lot. Yeah. I think my straight friends understand deeply where I'm at. And like I really only have like one really, really good straight friend. And she is just so happy for where I am now that it's kind of like she comes in and out.
You guys have a good excuse though. Like you are now the face of lesbianism across America.
Oh my God.
So...
Like, sorry, it's my brand. It's not in brand. It's actually not in brand.
It's not. So I can't. Sorry.
But that is hard. And I think it is a hard thing to talk about also, because how do you come on here and say like, yeah, like this is my whole world and you are also a big part of my world. But like, that is a hard thing to say. And I think that's why it's not talked about, because it's like, how do you come on and say like, okay, well, I categorize my friends in my head, but
yeah. And then, and then you have to plan a wedding and then you have to limit the amount of people. I feel so badly. And then it's like, I want every single person I've ever met in my entire life to be there.
Yeah.
And then I also want no one at all.
So it sounds like that is actually a big part of the problem.
I think. I don't fucking know.
I love, this is like a whole episode in itself.
That was just a therapy session. That was crazy where we just went with that.
That's usually what an episode is like. I'm like, let me dig a little deeper on this.
I'm like, no, thank you. I don't like this. Thank you.
Let's go back to masturbation.
Go back to the fun stuff.
I'm just ready to masturbate right now.
Look how tight my legs are. Look at me.
I gotta get to the car with a vibrator.
I am pent up, ready to go.
Thank you for sharing. I love you for being here.
Thank you. I love you. This was so fun.
Can you tell people where they can find you?
Yeah, I'm private on Instagram, so you can't find me. And O positive is at O positive with no E at the end of positive. And you should buy all the supplements. They're really great. People love them. Hit me up and I'll give you a code. But yeah, you can't find me. So,
but also just such a fun follow. So you really should follow.
Yeah, you can follow
because it's so funny and fun.
It's great. Thank you.
Of course. Thank y'all for listening to today's episode. As always, help us spread the gay agenda by writing an Apple review, rating us on Spotify, and sharing with everyone you've ever met. And if you haven't yet, join our subscription community, Made It In, for exclusive Made It Out media shows, content, and chat rooms at madeitout.supercast.com. Made It Out is produced by Matilde Jordan and worked on solely by lesbians.
As she bit her lips, she suddenly began to fart. She had Taco Bell.